Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you a new archetype that came out just recently called Phantom Knights. Now, right now they only have 3 cards I think, so I have 2 separate builds for them. One's a more warrior type build and one's a mix of Burning Abyss stuff. So I'm going to show you the extra decks, the deck, and all that stuff and get to it. This end is the warrior build, and it has 2 Dark Rebellion, Master Key Beetle, Black Ship, Acid Golem, just stuff like that. And this end is playing some Burning Abyss stuff. The Pilgrim, Beatrice, and 3 Dante. So that's the main difference to it. And in the main deck there's like Burning Abyss stuff in here. On this end it's more warrior oriented, so let's get to the duel. So far I'm finding this deck to be a second turn deck because its main XE monster, Break Sword, what its effect does is you detach 1 material and then you destroy 1 card off each side of the field. So if you go first, your opponent's not going to have anything for you to destroy. And this is also a new monster, right there, Beatrice. For anyone who hasn't seen this card yet, it's a Burning Abyss OCG support card. And you can either play it with 2 level 6 monsters, or by sending a Burning Abyss monster from your hand and using one Dante monster for the XE material. Now, it's pretty much a Laval chain, but you can't use it the turn that's summoned. And when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, just like any other Burning Abyss, well, correction on that, Burning Abyss activate regardless of how they get to the grave. You get a Dante, or no, you get a Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, which is pretty much a Dante, because there are none others in your extra deck. So that's why we're playing Pilgrim of the Burning Abyss. For anyone who saw that and was thinking, why would you be playing Pilgrim? So, also another thing I want to mention is how Breaker got to 3000. It's through one of the effects. Now, how that happens is the Phantom Knight of Rugged Gloves, I believe, when it's used for XE material, you get to add 1000 attack to the monster that's XE summoned. And it's treated as an effect for the monster that's XE summoned, so say your opponent makes Breaker, you can Fiendish Chain and they won't gain the 1000. And now this is another card, or a new card right here, the Phantom Fog Blade. And it's pretty much Fiendish Chain, except not only can the monster you target not attack, but you can attack that monster. And also another thing is you can banish it to special summon a Phantom Knight out of your grave. And this is the one I was talking about earlier, Rugged Gloves, how it's where you XE summon gains 1000 attack. Correction, a Dark XE monster. Okay. Alright, so back to the game. Now, something that's been a bug on Dev Pro, but not on Salvation, is that when you XE summon more than once with Rugged Gloves, but not in the same turn, you don't gain the 1000 attack. Now, what I'm saying is, pretty sure you can only do this once per turn. Yep, once per turn. But with Dev Pro, for some reason, you only get the effect once per duel. With the Salvation server, you get this every time you use it once per turn. So that's a bug that Dev Pro people need to fix. Speaking of Dev Pro, it's been down a lot lately. I haven't seen it up at all. Right now I'm actually using the offline mode. Another difference between these two decks is the Warrior build plays a lot more back row than the Burning Abyss build. Even though that might not seem true with these two fields, but it's kind of how I made room for all the Burning Abyss stuff, taking out some back row. Now the problem with getting around Dante is if you destroy him, he takes that random card from your hand, so that's the reason I haven't destroyed him with the Phantom Knights of Breaksword. But by the time that this deck had nothing in their hand and could destroy Pilgrim, Burning Abyss activated the Phantom Blade. So this is pretty much another really cool rank 3 deck like Burning Abyss. It's not nearly as fast because it doesn't have as much support. Like I said, it has 3 cards, but the 3 cards are pretty good. Another thing is when Breaksword's destroyed and you have 2 Phantom Knights in your grave, you can special summon them and make them level 4. But you can only special summon a Dark XZ with them. So a recurring combo with this deck, well, this is the end of the duel pretty much, is if you have, so say you have either Dusty Robes or Rugged Gloves, preferably Rugged Gloves in your grave, what you can do with the deck is you banish out Rugged Gloves, and then, well, this is its own effect, you can, if I'm correct on this, hang on. Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Alright, so how this works, the combo, is you banish Phantom Knights of Rugged Gloves, and then that lets you send Phantom Knight card, except the Horn of the Phantom Beast, which is pretty irrelevant. But anyway, you send that to you banish that, and that lets you search out a Phantom Knight and put it in your grave. And now what you do is you send Dusty Robes to your grave, and Dusty Robes' effect is you banish it, and then you add a Phantom Knight to your hand. So that pretty much lets you mill 2 cards from your deck just for having Rugged Gloves in your grave. It's a pretty cool combo overall. So you kind of, I'd say it's kind of +2, +1. So that's pretty much the end of this duel because all the side has set is Great Horn. So I'm going to go right over to the decks and explain them now. So this is the Warrior build, and as you can see it's pretty much set around Warriors. There's nothing else except Warriors. So we're going to be doing triple Mortal Bushi because triple Mortal Bushi, it works. 3 Marauding Captain because it's level 3, you special summon out of it. I'm going to go back to Mortal Bushi and explain that a bit better. So if you have all warriors in your grave, you get to special summon him. So that's a free level 3. We're playing triple Rugged Gloves, which is our usual XZ material for the +1000 attack. Triple Dusty Robes for the Dusty Robes and Rugged Gloves combo. 2 Spell Striker, because we have all these spells that once they're in their grave, they're pretty much useless. And 3 Kagamusha Knight. Now he sets up some pretty crazy combos right here. What you can do is, anytime after, say, like your first turn, you can summon Marauding Captain. Now what you do is you activate his effect for another level 3. And then you chain Kagamusha Knight to him. So you'll have Kagamusha Knight, Marauding Captain, and a level 3 out of your hand. Then you overlay 2 of them, so you can make Levier the Sea Dragon. Now what you're going to do with that is you're going to detach material, special summon something out of your banish zone, and then overlay again for another level 3. So you pretty much get 2 pretty good XC monsters. Alright, so Allure of Darkness I've considered taking out a few times because you only have 9 targets, or 12 targets for him. But it's alright. Raigeki because Raigeki. Rhoda because your entire deck's all warriors. Mystical Space Typhoon. And then the rest is a bunch of back row because if you don't open good or your opponent's playing a faster deck, you're going to want to slow your opponent down with a huge back row. That's going to be really annoying for your opponent to get past because if they try to attack, you're going to have 2 versions of Mirror Force. If they try to summon, you have Bottomless, Horn of Heaven, Warning, and if all else fails, you have the Phantom Fogblade, so your opponent can't even attack with their monsters or activate effects. And then the Phantom Knights of Shadow Veil, because there's another cool combo. What you do with this is you use Break Swords effect, and you target the Phantom Knights of Shadow Veil, or you could also use Fogbleed for this. It doesn't really matter which, but preferably this trap, because you can chain it to Break Swords effect. Now what I'm saying here is you target Shadow Veil for Breaker's effect, and then you chain Shadow Veil. So your monster has 2300 attack, and you pretty much lose nothing out of it. You destroy your opponent's card and gain 300 attack. That's pretty good. Alright, so here's another new card, the Great Horn of Heaven. Now it's the 3rd card in the Horn of Heaven set, and it's kind of my favorite so far. So what it does, it negates the special summon of monsters during the main phase, and then when you do this, you end your opponent's main phase. So that speaks for itself. Your opponent draws 1 card, and then they either have the choice of going into their battle phase, or they can just end their turn. So what else we have here? 2 Dark Rebellion XZ Dragons, number 66 Key Beetle, and number 50 Black Ship of Corn. The rest of the extra deck is an Acid Golem, Nightmare Shark, Triple Break Sword. Now with most extra decks, you're thinking, I'm never gonna summon 3 of this cards, but with this deck it is possible. So I've done it multiple times. You're not going to get them all out at the same time, but you're going to get them out. Double Alucard, because if one's sent to the grave, you get to add the other one back into your extra deck. Double Levier for the because this thing is just nuts. It combos really well in the deck. A Zen Mains and Fortune Tune. You're probably never going to use these 2. They're not nearly as good as the rest of your extra deck. Now we're going to get to the Burning Abyss build. So we're playing the 3 original Burning Abyss monsters, Sur, Graf, and Skarm. The rest is 2 Mathematician, because sending stuff to your grave. Marauding Captain is in this deck too. Tour Guide, because Tour Guide. Triple Rugged Gloves and Dusty Robes. And Kagamusha. So the rest of it is an Allure, Raigeki, Rhoda, MST, the Storming Mirror Force, which in my opinion, it's kind of better. So yeah, it's pretty much the only differences, but as you saw, this deck had a lot more consistency because Burning Abyss is in it, and then there's just the few changes. So, I hope you guys like this, and until next time.